Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kakuyo. Thanks for joining me for this evening's meditation and Sutra study. The practice will consist of a 10-minute guided meditation, a reading from Buddhist scripture, followed by a Dharma talk. Before we get into that, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. So go ahead and get into a comfortable position for the guided meditation. My only rule is that if you choose to lay down, please don't fall asleep. And if you do fall asleep, please don't snore. If you'd like some instruction, what I like to do is sit on a cushion or a pillow, cross my legs, back straight, chin slightly tucked. Left hand, palm up in the lap. Right hand, palm up over the left. Eyes can be closed, or if you prefer, slightly open and pointed downwards at a 45-degree angle. And we'll begin our meditation by focusing on the breath. On every inhale, we poke out the belly button as if we had a large meal. And on every exhale, we relax. Inhale, belly button goes out. Exhale, relax. Breathing in this way from the belly expands our diaphragm so that our lungs can expand and we can breathe in more air. More air, more oxygen causes us to relax. Now, if we're able, we begin breathing in and out through the nose. Still extending the belly button on every inhale. Breathing in and out through our nose engages our sympathetic nervous system. Sends a signal to our body that we're safe. And we can relax. And we'll just breathe like this for a minute. Wonderful. Now we'll begin to visualize a fire burning in the space behind our belly button. This fire is our favorite color. If we like blue, the fire is blue. If we like orange, the fire is orange. Burning like a campfire in the woods. This fire represents our spiritual power or our enlightened nature, and now we'll use our breath to increase that power. With every inhale, we bring air into our lungs. With every exhale, we visualize ourselves blowing on the base of that fire, making it bigger and brighter with every breath. We breathe in, air enters our lungs. We breathe out, we blow on the fire of our own enlightened nature, making it bigger and brighter. If our mind wanders, that's okay. We simply notice our thoughts and bring our focus back to the visualization. We'll continue breathing in this way for 1 minute. Wonderful. Keep breathing. Now we'll visualize a pipe going from our belly button down to the center of the earth. And another pipe running from our belly button up to the top of our head. With every inhale, we visualize molten lava from the earth coming up from the center, coming up into our belly, blending with the fire of our enlightened nature, making it even bigger and brighter than it already is. With every exhale, that lava explodes out of the top of our head like a volcano, showering every inch of us in healing spiritual light. So again, on every inhale, we visualize hot molten lava coming up from the center of the earth, feeding that fire in our belly. With every exhale, we push that fire up, we push the lava up out the top of our head till it explodes like a volcano, covering every inch of us in healing spiritual light. And if our mind wanders, we simply notice our thoughts and bring our focus back to the visualization. We'll breathe in this way for 1 minute. Great work. Keep breathing. Now it's time to gently bring our meditation to a close. We start by closing off the pipe going up to the center of our head, pushing the energy down, down, down until it returns to our belly button. And then we slowly close off the pipe going down into the center of the earth, pulling that energy up, up, up until again it stops right there in our belly button. If we want, we give the earth a silent bow of thank you for helping us with our meditation, moving us towards the path of awakening. And now we're left with the fire in our belly, our spiritual power, our enlightened nature. We focus on this fire, watching it burn, reminding ourselves that we can call on this energy whenever we need to. But now it's time to slowly allow the visualization to fade away until there's nothing but our breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Thank you for practicing with me today. When you're open, or when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, open them. Whew. Wonderful. So today's sutra reading will come from a book. It's a personal favorite of mine. It's Everyday Suchness by Reverend Gyome Kubose. Reverend Kubose was the father of one of my teachers, Reverend Koyo Kubose. And this book, Everyday Suchness, has a lot of wonderful wisdom that has helped me on my path. So we'll just start at the beginning. Today's reading comes from the chapter on happiness, page 1, and it goes as follows. All men, without exception, wish to have a happy life, and they work hard to attain it. To gain freedom and equality means, in the end, to live a happy life. Many wars have been fought for this prize, it seems, as if all human history is the history of the struggle for the attainment of happiness. All our plans are directed to this end, and all our energies are spent to attain it. It seems happiness is the ultimate goal of life. Let us examine what this happiness is that all of us seek in the way to happiness that everyone is looking for. What is happiness? We must know clearly what the objective is when we seek it. If we do not know, our effort may be in vain. The ancient Greeks thought that good is happiness. But in the Middle and Modern Ages, Aristotle's formal meaning that good is happiness has been altered to the more material meaning that happiness is pleasure or absence of pain. John Stuart Mill says in his Utilitarianism, by happiness is intended pleasure and the absence of pain. By unhappiness, pain and the absence of pleasure. There are some experiences that I've found in my life that are universal. And by universal, I mean exactly that. Everyone, in every place, of every religion, of every race, of every gender, has had certain experiences. If we've engaged in romantic relationships, we've had our heart broken. If we work in a capitalist society, we've had a job that we didn't enjoy, and probably had another job that we absolutely loved. We've all had to wash dishes and sweep floors and clean toilets at some time in our lives, and every single one of us has attempted, through our own human effort, to be happy. Like Reverend Kubose said, we all want to attain pleasure and avoid pain. This is true of the modern era, and it was also true going back 2,600 years ago to the time of Buddha. Now, what's interesting about the Buddha, however, is that if anyone should have been able to attain happiness through normal material means, it should have been him. He was a prince, slated to inherit a great kingdom. The oracle at his birth said he could be a world-turning monarch. Someone on the level of an Alexander the Great or a Genghis Khan, a world conqueror. He was highly educated, having the best tutors. He was a terrific athlete, a warrior. We're told that he was skilled in the bow and the chariot and the sword. In addition to that, he was wealthy. He lived in a palace, but not just any palace. He lived in a palace where his father, the king, wanting his son to be happy, wanting him to fall in love with the material life, ensured that he would always experience pleasure and never experience pain. So much so that anyone who was old or sickly or disfigured was not allowed in the presence of the young Buddha. Again, if anyone should have been happy, it should have been him. But what the Buddha found was that while we can have lots of material pleasure, dare I say satisfaction through money and things, happiness does not come from that. What he found, what I think we all find, is that while we can avoid unpleasurable things for a while, they eventually catch up with us. Eventually we have to wash the dishes. Eventually we have to take out the trash. Eventually our finances will require us to go back to work, even if we don't want to. And even though we can attain pleasurable items, at least it's been my experience that the more pleasurable a thing is, the harder it is to hold on to it. We get lots of money in our bank account and we're happy, and suddenly the car breaks down, or the house needs a repair, or maybe we just have bills to pay at the end of the month. We enter a romantic relationship and things are going great, and then we find out something we don't necessarily like about the person, or maybe they find out something they don't like about us. We go to a restaurant and we're enjoying a wonderful meal, and then maybe the server's a bit rude. Maybe the temperature is a bit too cold in the restaurant. Maybe we go out to our car and find out that someone dinged our side door. This is the cycle of life. We can run from the unhappy things for a while, but they'll eventually catch up with us. We can try and hold on to the pleasurable things, but they'll eventually go away. There's a word for this in science. It's called the hedonic treadmill. So when we look at the Buddha and his life and his attempts to find happiness, what we find is an individual who decided he would get off the hedonic treadmill. He was done running. So he left the palace, and he spent several years attempting to find a way to end suffering both for himself and all sentient beings. At first, he was an ascetic. He stopped bathing, he stopped wearing clothes. Eventually, he stopped eating. The idea being that the body, being a source of unhappiness, if we can just withdraw from the body, then happiness will be the only thing left. If we can let go of this material, mortal coil, we'll find something spiritual, something better that will make us happy. And the Buddha tried this, and he stopped eating to the point where he was only eating 1 grain of rice a day. The sutras tell us that he was so thin that he could poke his belly button and feel his spine. That's dedication. And you would think if this was the route to happiness, if asceticism was the key, then he would have attained it. But he didn't. Instead, what the Buddha found was that he was hungry, he was miserable, and he almost died. He passed out and nearly drowned in a river. A milkmaid named Sujata had to rescue him. At that point, he was so skinny that she thought that he was some sort of a tree spirit. She thought his protruding bones were branches. So at this point, the Buddha has tried hedonism in his youth, as living in the palace as a prince. He tried to hold on to the pleasurable things. He also tried asceticism, letting go of all of the material wealth, all of the material niceties. He tried to outrun the unpleasant things. And he failed in both attempts. So he tried something different. Instead, he decided to sit still. In the same way that we sat still during our guided meditation earlier, he sat down under the Bodhi tree and he made a vow that he would not move from that spot, even if the flesh melted from his bones, until he found a way to end all sorrow. So he sat, and he didn't move. And we're not given a ton of detail of what happened during the days that he sat under the Bodhi tree, but I imagine a lot of unpleasant things arrived. I imagine he was hungry. I imagine he was cold. I imagine he was tired. But he didn't move. He remained still, even in the midst of his misery. We're then told that at the end of his meditation, the god of desire, Mara, the god of lies, I should say, appeared and then tempted the Buddha with hedonism, telling him that if he simply gave up his quest for enlightenment, that he could have all of the wealth, all of the conquest and status, all of the sensual pleasures that he could desire. Still, the Buddha did not move. He did not give up his quest. He did not chase after pleasure. He also did not run away from pain. He simply sat and accepted whatever came. At this point, Mara, the god of lies, attempted one last trick to get the Buddha to give up his quest. He asked him, "Who are you to seek enlightenment?" Another way this could be put is, who are you to seek happiness? What makes you think you deserve that? To find an end to sorrow. And the Buddha, and I love this part of the story, he didn't go into some deep philosophical treatise. He didn't claim divine revelation from some deity. Instead, the Buddha wordlessly reached down and touched the earth. He touched the soil. He touched his ordinary, everyday life. And he responded to Mara by saying, "The earth bears witness for me." And in this moment, we're told that the earth shook, Mara disappeared, the morning star rose in the sky, and the Buddha realized enlightenment. He found the way to happiness. But what did he find exactly? Well, it's codified in the Four Noble Truths, in the Noble Eightfold Path, the Six Perfections, and the Four Brahma Viharas. But if I wanted to put it into one word, I alluded to this earlier, Buddha found that the key to happiness, the key to contentment, is acceptance. Now, when I say acceptance, I don't mean that we just don't care about life, that we sit there like a lump on the log and we just let whatever happen, happen. The Buddha was very active after he realized enlightenment. He got up from under the Bodhi tree. He spent the next 45 years teaching the Dharma, ending suffering for everyone he met. So acceptance does not mean laziness. It doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean that we don't interact with the world. It simply means that we take what comes and we try to work with it skillfully. We don't run away from it. We don't try to hold on to it. We just take this moment as it is, good, bad, indifferent, and we try to find a way to work with it skillfully. Now, what we do when we choose to sit in the moment, either literally, like I'm doing now, or figuratively in daily life, when we accept what comes is, first off, we just have a lot more energy. We're not so scared of life. We're not constantly looking out for whatever danger might come. We're not constantly looking for an escape of our current situation. We're simply accepting life as it is and making the decision to live our life in the moment. Not wishing for how we think things should be, not remembering how things used to be, simply accepting them as they are and working to make things better. We get bills, we pay them. We have work, we do it. We have a happy moment, we enjoy it. But we do these things not with the fear of, well, things are good now, but will they stay that way? Not with the fear of, oh, there's a problem, I need to avoid it, stick my head in the sand. We simply practice acceptance. Living our lives exactly as they are. The trick, it's kind of interesting, is that we as human beings are actually quite terrible at figuring out what will make us happy. We talk about universal experiences. I think all of us have had the experience of getting exactly what we want and finding out it's not what we expected. We got the job we thought we wanted and, well, it's not as exciting as we had hoped. We get the relationship we thought we wanted, but the person isn't what we thought they were. If we're constantly chasing after things, we will constantly be disappointed. On the flip side, if we hide from life, if we stay in the house, if we isolate ourselves, well, our lives become very empty, very lonely, very anxious. But if we simply learn to go with the flow, moving like a stream, not being scared of the rocks, just flowing around them, things become simple. If we learn to sit still, to truly be here in this present moment, we'll learn to be happy. Just like the Buddha did 2,600 years ago. Amitabha.